Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to take you on a Christmas adventure on Cebu Island, including almost crashing my bike. Lots of delicious food. This place I really like a lot. Giant spiders in the jungle. Absolutely enormous. Some of the custom bikes of the Philippines. This guy's got it totally customized. And a poor man's Vagabond Christmas dinner. You can go ahead and give everything a stir. From the port of Tampi in Negros Oriental, I boarded a ferry back to Cebu, then rounded the southern tip of the island as I made my way north. The Philippines is a majority Catholic country, which means that Christmas is kind of a big deal. Not having access to a lot of pines, they make their own Christmas trees out of whatever happens to be on hand. With temperatures soaring into the high 80s with 100% humidity, it was going to be anything but a white Christmas. This is the cheapest place I've found in the Philippines by far. A little bit less than $6 for basically you get this kind of a bamboo sort of a shack, and nothing really fancy to speak of. Basically it's just a shack, really, man. I mean, no air conditioning, just a fan and a pretty comfortable bed, it looks like. It's great except for the like ridiculously loud karaoke over there, but you take that for what it is. Today's Saturday. I've definitely roughed it in a lot worse places than this. All right, beachfront property too. After getting settled in, I headed up the road to see about dinner. All right, we got some sizzling pork belly right here. At this relatively decently priced sort of hotel slash restaurant. Sizzling pork belly. Could use a little bit of salt on that, honestly. Here in the Philippines, dance class can break out at any moment. All right, so this is basically the base model of the Honda Click. I think it's a 125 scooter. Over here, this just shows quite a few of the mods that you can do to it. The guy's got like a touring seat that looks really comfortable. Some different levers, different windshield it looks like. Yeah, actually there's no windshield on that one. This is supposedly a Honda Click. I would bet that this is kind of a custom model out of the factory, but he's got some adventure tires on it. I don't know what sort of a front end he's rocking, but it's definitely different than the stock on that one. Certainly looks a lot more comfortable than mine. All right, getting back on the road. It's sweltering hot once again, so I'm gonna go that way and head back into the mountains for a little bit and eventually make my way back to the town of Vagabond. Before I got too far, I still had the matter of lunch to consider. This is the place I really like a lot, mostly because it's cheap and delicious. So we got that stewed eggplant right there, some type of fish, pancit, which is the Filipino noodles with beef, and Filipino rice. Eggplant seems to be really popular around here. You see it everywhere, vendors selling it. That's fantastic, man. It's not exactly vegetarian friendly. There's some kind of pork or something that they cooked it with. Rich, meaty. All right, a little bit of that fish. I don't know what it is. I think he said it was bangus, which is like the milk fish. All the fish out here are super fresh, obviously. The ocean's right there. Feels like maybe it's a paxil style, where it's kind of like simmered in vinegar with vegetables and stuff like that until it cooks. I'm not really a fish guy, but the fish out here is so delicious. Each one of these different little fishes that they serve has a different taste, different texture. So all that delicious food for 140 pesos, which is like $2.50. I mean, absolutely delicious. I'm stuffed. So anyway, as I might have mentioned before, it's absolutely sweltering hot. So I'm getting the hell out of here and into some mountains. As you can see, got kind of an interesting road out here. About half of this lane is totally overgrown with bushes and stuff that are growing practically right in the road pretty much. So I don't anticipate seeing a lot of traffic on this road, which suits me just fine. Not long after setting out, I just about lost it on a nearly invisible patch of sand. I'm playing it sort of cautious because early on when I started ascending these mountains, I hit a patch of sand on the road that didn't even look like anything. And all of a sudden it was like I was riding on marbles, man. Luckily it didn't hit the brakes or anything, so the bike stayed up. Definitely some hardcore jungle. There is an enormous spider right there. It's not zooming in. Yeah, enormous. Undoubtedly the nicest view I've seen since I've been riding around in the Philippines. This is just absolutely incredible. That's where I just came from, basically on the other side, all these mountains and stuff. And across the way over there is Negros, not far from where I just was, you know, a few days ago. Hey! Today's Christmas Day. I'm still in Boal. Most of the restaurants are closed, so I think it's high time to do a little bit of the Vagabond Gourmet. So this is going to be kind of an interesting confluence of cultural influences going into this dish. Basically, at the grocery store, I was talking to one of the chicks in the produce section and trying to get some ideas of something that you know, a really simple guy like myself can make. Basically, I got these Korean noodles. I've tried these before. They're absolutely delicious. Got the calamansi, which is the Filipino lime. Some of these kind of green tomatoes, which the lady suggested. Then we got some Spanish style chorizo from China, which should be interesting. Add a little bit of porky goodness in there. Plenty of eggs and some dried anchovies. Grab a couple handfuls of these dried anchovies. We go a little easy on these until I see what they taste like. All right, now I'm gonna drop about 8 of these eggs in there, one at a time. As you can see, the fat from the sausage is starting to render down and the vegetables are getting soft. This is kind of a cool shared kitchen that they got here. So you're sort of sharing it with other people and kind of doing the dance and staying out of each other's way, almost like you're working in a professional kitchen again. So anyway, I added all those eggs right now, and I'm not even gonna stir those yet. I'm just gonna let them sit there for a few minutes. Wait a few minutes until basically the egg white is pretty much cooked. And then I'm gonna turn the heat off and go ahead and give everything a stir. Oh, it smells fantastic. All right, here we go. Some kind of a bizarre mix of China, Spain, Korea, and the Philippines. Not bad. The Spanish chorizo kind of takes over the whole thing. In retrospect, I probably could have used a few more of those salted dried anchovies. Could use a little bit of salt. I'm gonna see if they have some soy sauce over here. It's actually pretty delicious now that the sodium is kind of balanced out after adding that soy sauce. It's tangy from the tomatoes and the calamansi, a little bit salty off the anchovies. It's got a deep, rich kind of umami flavor. I mean, for a Christmas dinner that costs next to nothing, no complaints. As usual for this time of the year, it rained like a son of a bitch. So if I do this trip again, and I intend to, I'll definitely be looking into something like this with the big wheels like that to eat up all the bumps and everything else. It's got a Kickstarter as well as an electric start. It's carbureted, obviously. It looks like it'd be pretty easy to work on. Doesn't have the biggest rear shock, but it is what it is. Cool, like little luggage rack right there. I could probably mount a top box to that. But yeah, it just looks like a cool little bike, man. This one's pretty new. Everybody out here coughing, belching, puking, totally wasted. I guess, you know, everybody partied hard or they're still partying. It's not, frankly, a town that I have a lot of affection for whatever reason. It's just got kind of a weird, seedy vibe. There's way too many damn tourists here, so I was happy to leave Cebu, and I'll be happy to come back. Just got a ridiculous amount of rain over the last couple of days. It's pretty much been raining nonstop up to this point. The soil does seem to be pretty well drained. It's very sandy, but I mean, like earlier, this whole park was just like a puddle, man, pretty much. So here's a few more of the common motorbikes in the Philippines. This is like a dirt bike style, or like an enduro, I guess, rather. A Honda XR 150. It's good if you're doing a lot of off-road type of stuff, but you know, there are a lot of instances where a big tall bike like this is kind of a pain in the ass, particularly if you're doing a lot of city riding, you know, stop and go type of stuff, unless you happen to be really tall, which I'm not. You got your basic Yamaha Mio scooter. I think it's a 125. This is something somebody really suggested. It's called a Honda XRM 125. And I think it's got a U-box, they call it, under the seat, which is like a waterproof storage compartment. The front of the motor just kind of sticks out like that. Okay, no clutch, but it's got a manual foot shift. And guys tell me this is just a good all-around bike. They're super cheap. You can pick them up new for not much at all. So I might consider something like this if I do this trip again. And that's kind of sort of along the same lines. That's a 150 right there. You got a Wave, which is I think is a 115, just a little scooter. This right here is something called a Rusi. I talked to a couple of people about these, and they really didn't have a lot of good to say about them. I think they're made in China, and people talk about it like they just don't last, man. I mean, you get one of these brand new, a month later you're having to do serious engine work type of stuff. That's just what I've heard, you know, second and third hand from people that have them. They're like, absolutely do not get one of these. You'll be working on it constantly. Because I'd considered it because it's got a low price tag. But there's another XRM right there, which is cool. You know, it's got a big seat. A lot of these have lots of custom options. You can get top boxes for pretty much anything. There's another XRM. Okay, this is a Haojue. I think also a Chinese made bike. You don't see nearly as many of these on the road, but this guy's got it totally customized. That's looks like something homemade that wraps around the gas tank. I've never seen anybody do that, honestly. And then he's got these little racks back here next to the rear wheel. There's kind of a Kawasaki sport bike. These are not super common. You know, you don't see as many Kawasaki's as you do Hondas and Yamahas. But really the one that I like the most is probably that Honda TMX that I was showing you last night. That just seems to be a good, reliable, sort of a workhorse. All right, just returned the scooter. Now heading back to Cebu City for a couple of days and getting ready for the next phase of this adventure, man. To the country of Indonesia, first into Bali, and then to the island of Flores, kind of near where the Komodo dragons live. So yeah, no real plans other than going there, seeing some dragons, renting a motorbike, and seeing what happens, I guess. With my visa set to expire, I took a bus back to Cebu City for a couple of days, then boarded a flight to Indonesia. So I hope you enjoyed that video of riding around in the Philippines. A special thank you to everybody who's still watching these videos. I think I've lost about 2/3 of my audience at this point. People tend to tune out when I start doing this international foodie type of stuff. So at any rate, really appreciate the support. Stay tuned for some interesting content from Indonesia. I've been here for about the last week and a half or so, getting off into the hinterlands on a Honda 150 CRF. So as always, if you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.